So, hello, I'm Bruce Lyon, and I'm here having a conversation with Danielle D'Arcy about The Calling, which is a week-long residential immersion. The first one coming up in December this year, 2026. That is a link, a gateway, an extension, an outbreath of the Haydn teachings. So, Danielle, maybe you could share a little bit about what is The Calling?
Mm. Yeah, the calling. As you said, it's a 7 day journey. It's a immersive residential experience. It's a way that the teachings of Haydn, the essence of what we do in Haydn, what we circle around, what is at the core of Haydn, a way for that to pour out into the world. So it's part of Haydn's outreach. And for me, it was a seed that was planted almost the day that I first arrived at Haydn 2 years ago. And knowing that my journey was through one of these week-long experiences that all of a sudden no longer existed anymore. And I felt that fear in my system, or that like sense of wow, this can't not exist, and through my journey over these last 2 years of being in the field and receiving so much from I'm use the word teachings, but it's so much more than that. Like so much from the love that lives at the core of Haydn and that which lives beneath the teachings and around it. I've received so much from that, from being there, from following that breadcrumb, following that trail, following the calling that initially sounded for me. That yeah, like it just needed to happen for me. It was something that just needs to be back in the world. Like there needs to be some trail, some thread that people can follow who are out in the world that might one day lead to Haydn, but doesn't need to, but certainly connects them to, yeah, the love that's at the core of Haydn, at the core of these teachings. Soul work, that's it really is it's an access point into soul work that for me anyway, I don't see it existing as much in the world as I want it to. So this is another offering to the world, another offering to people, soul work.
Yeah, well, it's beautiful that you're turning and giving back along the stream that called you, and maybe it's worth saying something about the difference between a soul calling and a personality calling, like because there are many things that motivate us to respond to coming to things like trainings, and some of those are, career and relationships and many things that we would like to acquire, but the soul calling is quieter and sometimes more challenging. That's got a lot to do with the meaning of life and often a deep sense of surrender rather than acquisition. So,
Mm.
yeah, how would you see soul calling as being a unique note?
Mm. Yeah, it's like you said, it's quiet. It's like Michael Meade says, it's like when the as the world begins to roar more and more and more and collapse and burn, it's listening and responding to that quiet note of the soul. And something that has been revealing itself as the calling has been birthing through me and through us and in the conversations that we've been having is that just simply by responding to the calling or feeling something inside of you responding to the calling, that is the response in itself. That is the call in itself of the soul. And yeah, it's the difference between responding to the part that wants to consume, I feel, and the part that wants to create, like to create new, to create something new. Yeah, tuning into the longing that lives at the core of us. And yeah, there's something about the quietness and the because you're responding to the soul's call, it has the essence of initiation with it. And initiation is not pretty, it's not comfortable, it's inherently destructive by nature, and it will disrupt everything that's in its way. And so I feel also compassion for those who are feeling that, you know, responding to the calling also will bring up a lot in it, because when the soul calls, when initiation calls, everything that's in its way will be totally destroyed and disrupted and brought up, and like that upheaval of everything that you think you know, like that is the quality of initiation. So it's actually, it's something that we speak about quite often, is like how to share about initiation in these spaces and these platforms, even in a conversation and a podcast. It's how to put words to the ineffable, how to speak about the unspeakable, and to say to someone, like, by responding to this week-long immersion, which there are so many in the market, there's so many ways to come and do another container and another training and another thing to tick off your box and to consume and to put on your, like you say, on your CV, this is a different quality, and this is the it won't feel safe, it won't feel necessarily comfortable, it won't touch the places that perhaps are used to be touched. It'll it'll pierce right through to the part of you that is actually on its knees, like the part of you that is on its knees, longing for something else, longing for more depth, longing for home, really.
Yeah, like you say, it's disruptive, particularly if you have spent a lot of time building a life or a career that's not based on soul. And that's why it's so good to be able to get these transmissions early. And I know where they came from in my life is going to university and longing for that depth of soul, longing for that note that is sounded in the outer world that reminds me of the note that I've come in on in my inner world. And when it's not there, then it can be a source of deep despair. And of course, it drives you inside, and it drives you inside to your own gnosis. But if you're not hearing that note on the outside, so for me, thank God for great literature or poets or artists who have led a soul life and have left their fragrances and their essences in the world so that the soul can pick them up. And yeah, it takes a lot of courage to realize that the life that you're living doesn't have the depth of meaning that you've really longed for,
Mm.
and to risk letting that all go if necessary in order to like recapture the pearl beyond price, like reconnect with that essential note that makes life worth living. So I know that was a that kind of call in your world, and I wonder if you want to share about that.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, that was part of my journey, was meeting the teachings of hiding soul initiation, diving into what is it to live as a soul in this world, and to go through that threshold of death, basically, death of everything that I thought I knew I was. And when I first met those teachings in a week long that I went 2 years ago, it was like coming home. Like there was something so relieving, and it's something so like, oh, okay, this is what I was searching for, that not even knowing that I'd been searching for something, not even, yeah, it was the first time that I was able to like confess to myself that how I had been living wasn't okay with me. That it wasn't okay with some part of me. And that I was seeking that relief of like, oh, okay, I'm not the only one that feels like this. I'm not the only one that wants more, that seeks for more, that isn't okay with living a life that feels shallow, and I wasn't even living, like, in my eyes then I was living quite a deep and profound, like I was in it, but it just still, like, there was a thirst and a hunger and a longing for more meaning. Like, who am I? Who actually am I here to be? Like, I'm not being used. Like, was knowing that I'm of use, like there's something that I'm here to do and I'm not doing it yet. I'm not being who I was meant to be here. And yeah, the first time I came into a space where not only was that welcome, but oh my God, we got to speak about it, we got to journey into it. I got to move through these gates of releasing all of the wrappings that had felt like cages my entire life, like arriving in these spaces and feeling like I've been trapped in a prison that I've made myself. I've been locked in behind bars and ideas and belief systems that have, yeah, just trapped me. It was a feeling of finally I'm free, and that freedom came from facing death of all of the ways that I'd identified and wrapped myself around this identity so tightly that, yeah, for me at times like the only way to escape was actual death, like was actually like, what, I can't do this anymore if this is it. Like I can't be here anymore if this is it. Like I came for more. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's a little bit of the relief that I felt in that moment of finally being in a space where initiation was talked about, was like where I've received education, what initiation was, and what I had been feeling, which was standing on the threshold of it, but not quite knowing what or where or who or how it was going to happen. Um, yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's two things you've raised that really strike me. One is the link with death, like I've just been doing a post today about and the death is a lover, and because our world lives so much in fear of death, that survival at all costs is the important thing for the ego, and so anything that reminds us of death, we tend to push out, and yet, the great initiators of the world have always known that death and rebirth is an essential part of the initiation process, and that making friends with death, like living close with death, knowing that death is going to take and renew, so that we live this seasonal life of growth that involves many little deaths. And if we are avoiding those deaths, then they end up accumulating and becoming like a large specter to face. So that's the relief of being in a culture where death is welcomed as and befriended rather than like tried to be evicted. And then the other thing is that thing of calling for meaning, like one of the things that we've lost in the world as we've outgrown religion, which in some ways is a great thing to outgrow something that was very often confining and parochial. But there was always something in religion that it was a pathway for beings who felt that they were called, that the meaning of their life was greater than just a successful story of their own journey.
Mm.
If they were a priest, they could have gone into a monastery. If they were a lama in Tibet, they'd go off to a lamasery. It's like that sense that there are, there is amongst us beings who are only in deep fulfillment of their purpose if they are being used in some way that is greater than just accumulating and consuming.
Yeah.
And so, because religions are not providing those pathways in the same way that they were, what is the modern pathway for someone who feels deeply called to a life that has much greater meaning than just consumption? And how do they find those modern paths?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, and so that's, I guess, looking out into the field, so to say, like the what is offered these days in terms of weak containers, in terms of pathways to initiation or education around initiation. We're looking into a society, at least in the Western world, that is absent of education around rites of passage. We're not, no longer are we passed down the wisdom from our lineages, from our ancestors, from our, like the wisdom keepers itself. Like I know that I longed for that in my own journey, and I know so many that did the same. And so we have to find these spaces where that wisdom is kept and held in the oral traditions and in our bodies as well, and that we pass that on through lived embodied experience of what it is to have been passed, to pass through these rites and pass through these thresholds. And yeah, when I look into the world and see so many retreats and containers and circles and all of these ways that people are already gathering together, listening to that, I do think, I believe it is listening to that note of like, there's something else here, like, what is it? Is to actually provide that in a space and to be, to be brave enough to have a space dedicated to soul initiation, to initiation to this threshold. Like, are you on the edge of a threshold that is terrifying to the parts of you that are still clinging to what they know and to safety and to staying in the same, like, spinning and churning in the same thing, like, to offer a space where you can come and maybe take a step on the path to your own initiation. And yeah, it's not easy to market or to sell that because it's not comfortable and it's not coming to a space where someone's going to pander to the parts of you that have been pandered to in other spaces, or yeah, or patterns.
Yeah, and that's the difficulty. I mean, it's a good thing in some ways that we immediately try to materialize these deep things. And it is powerful that there are so many people focused on soul work in the world and so many different kinds of containers for it. But it isn't a consumer experience, and it isn't something that you do a trip advisor review on, and it isn't something that your personality is necessarily going to feel good about. Actually, it's a stripping away, it's a tearing down, it's a apocalypse, a stripping so that the deep truth that is already at the core of your being is more fully revealed. So it's not an acquisition, it's not another thing you add on to
Mm.
make your life better. It's something you strip away to discover something that is already in you, but maybe the voices has been quiet underneath the noise, and now that voice is emerging.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, I think that's an essential part of the process.
Yeah. Yeah, and feeling into the three, I mean, there was three pillars and three doorways that were coming through when we were doing the writing for the calling as well. And the three doorways were through the body, matter, through the heart, and then into spirit. So that acknowledgement that when we come into group and into these containers in order to till the soil for initiation and for these greater stripping back to who you actually are and who you were here to be, is that we can go through these three access points of what is it to actually, like, yeah, my access point has been through the body of like, what is it to actually unravel from all of these constructs and wrappings and strict identities and rigidity and fear and contraction in the body that is actually preventing me from allowing my soul to land, allowing my soul to emerge more, is like how much fear and terror is in the body, and how we can actually do so much with the body when we're in group to open and to trust humans again, to trust the world again, to trust that we can open and be alive. Like, it's that sense of like, what is aliveness feel like in the body? Because yeah, again, coming into spaces where the body's just done to again, or we're being overridden. Like, a lot of the stuff, a lot of this work is about opening the body to its own gnosis. Like, because only then can you really truly find, like, one of those access points to soul is, well, who am I and what am I here for? And my body already knows this. And it's the same through the work that we do with the heart, of opening to group and opening to the soul tribe that have gathered in this particular constellation at this particular time, and allowing our heartbreak to be seen. Like, that part of me that arrived in that space, I was on my knees the first time thinking, like, where on earth am I going to find somewhere that says to me, like, hey, it's okay that some part of you doesn't want to be here. It's okay that you feel totally lost. It's okay that your heart is breaking at the world that you see around you, and the yeah, like, how, what a gift it is to have a space where you can come in and let your heartbreak be seen, and let your heartbreak open even more. And then yeah, like how that then connects to spirit and opening ourselves up to greater, because that's only by turning the I inside out into us, into we, into the collective, into like expanding greater than my little problems in my eye, but actually opening more to God, to goddess, to spirit, to yeah. And this is, I guess, where the teachings come in more. So it's all preparatory so that we can open to soul and be in that frequency. Yeah.
I love that, and I love the fact that there's something wild actually at the core of the body, at the core of the heart, at the core of spirit. There is a wild, irrepressible part of our nature that resists all of the taming and the civilizing and the structuring and is waiting until it's like where our green shoots reemerge from. And
Mm.
so something about that wild nature, which is emerging on the planet now as we try to find new solutions to these deep problems.
Mm.
And and I also like the fact that there's an individual part of the path, there's a group part, and then there's the universal part that each person's soul is carrying an absolutely unique gift that will never be repeated, that is their piece. It's their it's etched on the core of their soul, the particular fragrance, the particular note. So that is individual work. No one can do that for you. That's the courage of turning towards what is sounding at the core of your own being and bowing before that and learning how to transmit that and be a hollow bone for that and knowing that it won't look like anyone else's, that you can't model it on somebody else. You actually have to find your authentic voice as an individual soul. And then there's the group, like finding your tribe, like such a relief to know, even though no one can do your work for you, but there are other people as dedicated to the work as you are. Like that is such a relief in finding tribe. And then the the spirit step is like, and there is just one life through everything. So yes, you have your own unique expression of that, but it's just one life that's thundering through this planet, that's thundering through cosmos, that is lifting like a wave underneath all things from the sap and trees to human soul unfoldment, that initiation is not something separate from life itself. So those three modes of the individual, the group, and the universal life force.
Mm. Yeah, and it's like that death process of initiation is the pathway to aliveness. Like through all of these access points, we come into life more, we open to life more, we allow our bodies, our minds, our hearts to open to more life. And yeah, that's I guess that's at the core of the calling is eh, how to send this out more, it's how to I'm always envisioning the web, like the web of life that goes out and that of course Haydn holds like one particular point of like the other side of the web, the other side of the thread for this particular week long, but that that this teaching of initiation reaches out to more and more because in the world that we live in at the minute so many are feeling that call, so many are feeling that tremor at the core of their being that there is something else waiting there. There is something on the other side of this door that they're already vibrating to, and they just need that support of group, really, of group to help them step through that threshold, to step into more aliveness, to step into and through their heartbreak, their deepest wounds, so that we can be of service, so that we can be given, so that we can write the book that's meant to come and sing the song that's meant to be sung and share the poetry and your stories and share your soul's gifts with the world to like be in that the bravery and the courage to actually be who you came to be in this world. Like it does actually take group. It does take it and maybe it doesn't take group, but it certainly helps. It certainly accelerates the process to do this in group and to do this with others and to pull it through these three pathways of through the week of embodied ritual, of being in ceremony together, of being in bodies together, of allowing that core intimacy of being exposed and being naked to each other as well. Like that's what touches me the most about being in group and being in these spaces and being able to create something that goes out into the world that has a note of that deep core intimacy at it is so important because I feel it when I feel that that thirst in myself of like more intimacy that I need, and it's not the intimacy that we're being sold. It's the part that longs to be seen at my core. Like I want, yeah, I want to be in spaces where that part of me is seen and beckoned forward and called forward, and I want to do that for others as well. I want these spaces to exist where we come and we say like, no, I want what lives at the core of you. I want that one behind the masks, behind the identities, behind the performer and the entertainer and the people pleaser, like the one behind that. And yeah, to create a space where people feel safe for that part to emerge. Like I know that on my own journey, how long it's taken for that part to come forward, like a little animal crawling out of the forest. Like, is it safe? Are you sure? Are you sure that I'm loved here? Are you sure that it's safe here? Like that turns me on, is that we could have that space out there in the world to say like, come here, like come and come out of hiding, and you're safe to be loved here.
Yeah, it's like it's the essential drama of the soul, isn't it? It's like, I want to be seen, don't see me. I want to be seen, no, don't look at me. That journey of like such a vulnerable, tender part of our being, which is also so alive and creative,
Mm.
and allowing that, trusting that that part is welcome in a world that is dedicated to soul.
Mm.
I also want to talk about land because, such an important part of modern spirituality is like a return to the body, return to the earth, or return to the divinity that is land. Um and and it's like a response to ascent spirituality, which was so much about going and find God in heaven. And now it's about how do we realize earth is already heaven and we're already here. And Haydn has been so beautiful, actually having a place that people can come to and put their feet on and their bodies on and realize, oh my God, there's a place, there's a piece of land that's dedicated to soul awakening that my body can feel a different kind of relaxation on. And then that this calling, having a specific relationship to land, where it is being held. So, and it's been held in your homeland, this first time. So yeah, maybe a, a bit about the relationship between soul initiation work and land.
Mm. Yeah, that's one of the signature notes of the calling, and it feels like for such a long time it was up in the ethers, and it was like it's going to happen, but we're not sure when or where or how. And as soon as it became about listening to land, about reciprocity to land, about how can Haydn support the temples across the globe to emerge, and how can that little dose of soul going out into the world be responding to the calling of land. So it's looking at land as the co-initiator, that we're responding to the calling of land first. And yeah, for a while I didn't know if it was going to be in Ireland, and then it was Rory that said like it's in Ireland, like listen to the call, of Ireland coming through me, of yeah, my deepest longing for my land is that there's more of this work there, and more people that are constantly hearing people talk about, I want to go to Ireland. Oh, I'm Irish, I'm half Irish. The diaspora of Ireland is, profound across the globe. And yeah, it was something we were speaking about land, and how land calls people when they're at these thresholds. And yeah, sitting on the edge of a cliff in Ireland one day, looking out into the waves and the beauty of the world, and how beauty is an initiator it's in itself, of how could you look at the world, and how could you look at these most ancient, primordial, beautiful, astounding moments in the landscape, and not want to be who you came here to be, not think that like it becomes life, death, life in that way, of like just this wake up call of what am I up to? Like, what am I doing? I need to be alive, I need to come alive, I need to emerge more, and land does that whenever you're listening to the sound of the soul. So yeah, it's a signature note of the calling, is that it's only responding to land that is calling it. It's not just going to happen on a random venue in a random place, but actually we'll wait. Like we'll wait until we hear the call of a particular land, that that wants us to work there as a, yeah, and we come with an offering, not as something to take, but actually something to pour back into the land. And yeah, in that reciprocity, calling soul tribe together, whether you're from the land itself. So, say for instance, in Ireland, whether you're living in Ireland itself and you feel the call to come and be with your land in this way, listen to the soul of your land and allow your soul to open up to, well, why is it that you were born here? What is your soul contract with Ireland? And then how that opens to more people, the more beings that have been circling Ireland for a while and have always known that they needed to come to Ireland but didn't know why or how, or it's not just going to be one random weekend, but it's something important. That is the calling as it goes out, is like come and be together in tribe and be in prayer, be in ritual, be in ceremony, listen to the land and do that together. And then also those that are connected to Ireland and want to pour in, like want to give their resources, want to offer themselves to Ireland in some way and don't know how, like this is it. These are the spaces that we can create together, is coming to land and listening. So it's really in that one of those pillars of the calling is to come to listen to the soul of that particular land and listen to the temple that's emerging and be in relationship with the land and the beings that are there. So yeah, I would love, like I know that's going to be part of the fun and the joy of the calling, is actually calling in beings of the land. Like we've got storytellers coming, we've got musicians coming, artists coming, poets coming, to all come and share like what is it to be of this land, and to feel that the soul's gifts coming through in art and poetry and expression. So yeah, that's one way that the land is coming through.
Yeah, I love that. And part of what's emerging in the world is like as the cracks in the old civilization are happening and new life's emerging, we're noticing that it's like it's been prepared for a long time. A lot of people have been doing their own things, and maturing their own, piece of creative life, but they don't often come together so that they find each other and see each other and co-create. So it's as much a gathering at the well, for those who are already doing something in Ireland, already responding to the soul of their land and to what's happening in the world, and finding ways to come and meet, as well as being a pilgrimage place. My experience of like going anywhere in the world, when I'm tuned in, it's always a pilgrimage. The land is an important part of it, and not just the land as culture and tradition, but the land as its own vibrational reality. And when I feel Ireland, it's such an ancient connection to the ecstatic goddess energy, that Ireland carries, in spite of like all of the troubles on top of it and all of the grief and the angst and all of the things that have happened in an ancient land like that. But there is a quality of ecstatic life in the land that's untouched by any of that, that is like a living gnosis that can be breathed in and felt through the body and the heart and the soul. So I feel like there'll be people coming as pilgrimage. There'll be people coming locally to gather and offer their gifts. There'll be people coming from lineage, like blood lineage that they were thrown out in the famine times and they've never been back, or, whatever it is that is a calling. Each of them will put together this unique fabric of what the calling is.
Mm,
Mm.
mm,
So, yeah, maybe the last thing would be a conversation, I suppose, about the emerging temples, and part of Haydn being on the physical plane is important. It developed over a long cycle of traveling the world and doing like uh, like retreats and so on in different places, but
mm,
then having a place that's dedicated to soul initiation work that is there 24/7, even though the work's not happening 24/7. It's the land is there, it's lying fallow or it's opening up. And many people have come in and done temple trainings and they've gone out into the world and they're sounding their note in the world. So there's something about places that are on dedicated land that we call temples or whatever, that allow long enough for people to come in and anchor themselves deeply in soul before they go back into the world, and supporting these emerging, as they are emerging in many different places in the world, is part of Haydn's work. It's not just a question of calling people in towards Haydn, it's breathing out these essential waters, the transmissions, the teachings, the relationship with the earth that's been developed there
Mm.
to other places so that other temples can form. And so I'm seeing part of the calling also being as an outreach gift from Haydn into the world, rather than just like a place where people can like feel the call to come to Haydn.
Yeah. Yeah, because from my experience as well, like hiding came into my field and then it wasn't for a couple of years before I could actually make the trip over to New Zealand, and it's a long, deeper dive. I feel like the calling is a dose, it's a drop of soul, it's a drop of initiation, it's a drop of what it is to be listening to land out into the world and out into these spaces where, yeah, maybe there isn't a lot of that. And and so, yeah, like following that trace all the way back to Haydn, then it might be a way for Haydn to come into someone's field, and they may come there one day or they may not. But what feels equally as important is that they get enough of a taste of what it is to be in soul together, what it is to be in devotion to something greater, what it is to be given. And we can do that in a week. Like that's the excitement in my system of like, I know that there's such a depth that we can go together in a week whenever there's that prayer at the core of like, may I come more alive, may I remember who I am. And just from that one week, just from 7 days of having that somatic imprint of emerging more, of being more in touch with what I came here to do, what I came here to be, that yeah, even if you never come to Haydn, you're part of something. You become, you're part of something greater now. You're part of the community. You're part of the family, the heart, the soul tribe that now exists around the world, that have had this touch of soul, this touch of the dark, this touch of life, of the life that lives at the core of it all. And yeah, that the hope and the dream is that pours out more then into the world, wherever these, yeah, because this is where the difference between coming to consume and coming to create lives, is that if you're coming here, like this isn't another place to come and tick off your box, or to come in and leave at the end with like, okay, and now I'm this, right? It's actually like, how can you turn back out into the world more loving and more alive and more nourished and ready for the world? And maybe you're now ready to quit your job and start your life, or to like do the thing that you've been waiting to do. And that part of you that was standing on the threshold of something, like maybe you're ready to take that step now. Maybe you feel that bravery in your system of like, okay, I can do this because I know what it is to die. I know that part that wants to die is dying in order for something else to be reborn. And maybe your work is to be part of the temple emerging on your land. Maybe your work is to go and bring this into your community, and bring this like drop of soul work into your family, into your relationships, into your, I know that this work begins just by how to be more loving in every moment, and that can just be smiling at your barista in the morning. It can create a ripple effect of more love in the world that you'll never fully comprehend. So I love just feeling that breadcrumb trail, all from the moment that someone might see this video, someone might just see the words, the calling. Like it really is. It's a frequency that we're holding at the core of this, that where we know is resounding in a way that it will touch someone at the exact moment, at the exact time. Like that's the beauty of these constellations when we come together. When you're looking around the room in the first day, or looking around the circle and going like, why these people, why this place, why this time? There's some divine choreography of my soul that has brought me to this exact moment. So it's like, how to say to people like, don't, any questions that you're going to ask about this, like that's not the point. Like the part of you that's responding to this call is the part that has already booked their plane tickets to Ireland, that has already looked at their diary and gone like, okay, I'm there. It's the pathless path. It's the choiceless choice. It's like it's the part of you that is already there, sitting in circle in the opening day and going, okay. And so yeah, I have compassion for all of the things that have to happen from the moment that you feel the call to the moment that you're sitting in opening circle, because that's all of the like reconfiguring and I have to change my whole life around and like yes, yes.
Yeah, I mean, it part of it too is the recognition that it's a never-ending pathless path, that it's really the personal self that wants to tick things off and like, oh, I've my life's working, I think I'll just have a bit of soul initiation, and or and maybe I've got everything else, I just need enlightenment or soul purpose or but when you're in soul, you realize that that idea that there is an end, that there'll be a place you get to, and then you can retire and you can be like happy ever after. That actually, the more you get into soul work, the more you realize, well, it never ends. You are always going to be growing and learning and failing and succeeding and learning how to love more. And there's no security. It's not the that attempt to find a secure life that something is going to work and make you feel safe. That starts to become less important when you're doing soul work. What matters is are you holding on to the thread? Like, is the current of aliveness and creativity and beauty and love, is that getting more in your life, or is it getting less? And for it to get more, you have to let go of more. You have to let go more control, more running your own life, more being in charge, more being in flow, more being in the current, more being in daring and risk and the courage of what it takes to live the life knowing that you can lose everything at any moment, but that you're all in to feel the beauty of the trip. So it's not the end of a journey, it's the beginning of a journey that never ends. And those people who are choosing to live a life of soul, like this is their time on the planet. This is the time that that note is sounding, and so many are looking and finding each other. So it's almost like part of the celebration of this work is it's a celebration of coming out. It's a celebration of coming out from the safe, secure, protect the soul at all costs to live the soul life, live the creativity, live the love and the vibration and the life and the vulnerability that comes from an authentic expression of who you came to be.
Mm.